Hello, hello. I am Ben Pick, and thank you for joining me in Running to Write, where I used to give questionable writing advice through running metaphors, but have since switched over to hosting productivity sprints. And all of that is to get my fourth novel to the point which I am ready to publish, which should be coming out some point this year. We'll see. That is my goal. It's going through the first round of developmental edits in basically a week. And then after that, there's going to be another round in the late spring period, I think May 1st. And then I'll get a proofreader. And so hopefully I will get things out by the end of the year. No, I do not have a title. I need to figure that out because I also need to start getting a cover and getting all the fun stuff together. So those are all to-do activities, but I don't have anything for right now. Also, for a little bit of housekeeping, this Saturday, so instead of next Monday, this Saturday at noon, I will be hosting Writing to Write. So instead of coming here next Monday at 6 p.m., it will be this Saturday at noon Eastern time. Hope to see you there. If it's too early, if it doesn't work for you, that's cool. But I will be here. I will be being productive. I will be writing, and we'll see how things go with that. So with that out of the way, I need to set an item to create event in StreamYard. Before I forget, I'm making note to do that. Cool. So everything is set up for Saturday. You all know now. Oh, and one other thing. I know I said I wouldn't talk about the Stranger Things ending or anything within the season. However, I saw a video today. It was really funny. It is basically Stranger Things and Digimon comparison, and I don't remember if I made that, if I brought that comparison up here, but I've absolutely said that while I was watching with my wife, I was yelling at the TV and like, this is the scene, this is Digimon season 2, this is Digimon season 2. And she's like, I don't care, I never watched that. But somebody apparently did watch it. Somebody apparently made the same connections I did, and I know that the video that I'm linking right there has some hoops that they jump through, and it's not quite one-to-one, or rather it's so generalized that it could apply to anything. But I think it's more the fact that the Stranger Things finale was so basic, unoriginal, and stereotypical, least common denominator, insert common derogatory term for shitty scripting here. But yeah, it's so basic that it can be mapped onto a bunch of different shows. And this one in particular, where the plot is very similar, the villain is extremely similar, their motivations are similar, the ending is similar, the kidnapping of children is similar, the and then the epilogue kind of detail where one of the characters becomes a writer and writes down their adventures. That is very common trope, but it also was included in Digimon Adventure. So, you know, Adventure season 2 or whatever. So fun times. I will just pile on the Stranger Things hate because I don't think that there has been a good show on Netflix. Well, a lot of the shows on Netflix are just terrible, but I don't think there's been a good show, a good ending for a show on Netflix. And I know I said this a couple last week or the week before, whenever, but it is sad how when Stranger Things first came out in season 1, it was fantastic. It was Netflix at the top of their game. It was a reason to cut the cable, which is what I did. I stopped my Comcast subscription and I went from that solely to Netflix. That was the only thing I had. And I stopped pirating shows. I stopped doing all the questionable internet things with viewing Game of Thrones and HBO and all this other stuff. And Netflix was the star of that, but 10 years later, the quality has since deteriorated so that it is as Netflix describes it, and they have said they want to do. It is a second screen show, which means that you are scrolling on your phone, mindlessly, doing whatever, and then partially paying attention to whatever's on the screen. So there needs to be nothing entertaining, nothing complex, no interesting motivations. Everything is exactly as it seems, which is really funny because one of the actresses was so bad at acting that people thought that she was like a plant, like she was going to be revealed to be a secret villain because of how bad she was at acting. And sure enough, no, she wasn't. She was just a bad actress. And we should have known that there wasn't any twist like that because it was a Netflix show. Anyways, yes, I 100% agree. Anyways, let's go into writing. I did my two things I wanted to say. So Saturday instead of next Monday is Writing to Write, and Stranger Things is still crap. But on the bright side, I am up to chapter 15. I got all my editing done. This is the second round, so I'll move on to chapter 16 and 17 later in the future productivity sprints. And there is a chance I can get up to chapter 20, or that during my show, I will be up to chapter 20 on Saturday. I'll do 18, 19, and 20, one round of each. So I'll be the second rounds of 18 and 19, and then the first round of chapter 20. But I don't honestly know if I'll be able to make it there with this week because fun times. I tried to prep for a client to be ready. They did not respond last week. And so today they were off because it's a holiday in the States, Martin Luther King Day. My company doesn't participate in that. And so I was working today until I realized I had no work to do. And so I just called in sick. So now I need to play catch up for the rest of the 2 weeks and work probably basically 9-hour days. Well, more than that because I have to do manager tasks. But for the client, I have to basically work 9-hour days to get everything done, which does suck. No, it means my company is very particular about the holidays they celebrate. Let's think. There was not Martin Luther King Day. Is the next one Labor Day? I don't. Oh, yeah. So the next day off I have is Labor Day, which really sucks. But in theory, we have infinite time off. The problem is that you need to hit 80% in order to get a bonus. So while technically I could take off for multiple vacations this quarter, if I do it too many times, I won't get my bonus. If I do it too many times, I will get in trouble for taking time off. Yeah. It's all good. I work 9-hour days regularly because, like I said, I have manager tasks to do on top of my billable work. But when the billable work requires more than 8 hours and then I have to do the managerial tasks, it's a pain. So next 2 weeks may or may not suck depending on how easy the assessment is. There's a chance it might be. I'll find out tomorrow, hopefully. If not, things will get really fun really fast, where I'm doing forced time off because there's no work for me to do at the start of the year. So womp womp indeed. I like money. Not really. I would happily take a significant pay cut if it meant I only had to work 4 days a week or 9 days out of 2 weeks or whatever. I know a lot of places, a lot of people I talk to, they can do, it's called like a 9-10 plan or what, a 9-80 plan. I don't know. Either way it is, they work 9 hours and then every 2 weeks they get a 3-day weekend. And that leads to a lot better environment because even today where I put in 2 hours of actual work plus another 2 hours of support work, I still thoroughly enjoy my day by having taken off 4 hours. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. I'm going to start up with the productivity sprint. So I will see you all in 30 minutes as we come here to write, which is what my whole goal is with these productivity sprints. So I'm going to mute. I will see you all in 30. And welcome back, everyone. That was the first round of the productivity sprints for a night. I finished chapter 15. I'm going to get started on chapter 16, but first I want to do a little bit of normalizing because I have some instances where I call robots its, and I'm trying to think if I want to call them theirs instead. I think that might be a little bit better, which means I'm going to need to normalize 4 chapters and string search for usages of it. How was your productivity sprint? Miss Blogger, welcome, welcome, welcome. That's what I was working on. I was working on chapter 15 out of 41. Yeah, 41. So it's technically like 40 chapters, but there's an epilogue, and the epilogue is pretty lengthy, so it's a full chapter. Anyways, chapter 41 chapters. I'm on 15 of 41. And yeah, gender neutral robots. It's not just that. It's also that there is more of a, hey, this is a living creature, whereas an it is kind of like a strictly machine. So I think when the robots demonstrate sentience, they get elevated to a there. Although it's more of I think it's more of a respect thing where, I mean, I could make a machine or whatever and it would absolutely be an it because it has no mind of its own, it has no willpower, it just does whatever I tell it to. Whereas a robot that can talk and think, more so than just ChatGPT, and even if it is doing its own programming, it's going through its own processes, it is still capable of making decisions, so it will be elevated to a there. So I think that's it. Yep. And Miss Blogger, so you're working on your outline for your fiction, fantasy, and contemporary paranormal romance novel with insta-love, forced proximity, and fated mate tropes. Sweet. Huh. No, I did not ask ChatGPT for the feelings on the matter, but I do have a lot of comments about references to robot overlords within my story. So there's some fun things there. And you were productive by making a hot chocolate and being cozy. Good. Today was cold. It was 20 degrees out, which was rough for my morning run. Let's see, 20 degrees is -7 Celsius. Let me figure this out. 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Hey, I was very close, man. That is impressive. 20 degrees Fahrenheit is -6.666 Celsius. So I was basically spot on with -7 Celsius. Go me. I can do conversions in my head. It's freaking cold. I mean, there were definitely parts that were bad. I think Saturday was worse, even though it was warmer. I feel like it was the upper 20s then, but there was a wind, and so my feet were definitely getting, my toes were getting numb on my long run on Saturday until the first mile was done. Whereas this morning I was my face was very cold because my running jacket doesn't really have good coverage. Whereas on Saturday I was wearing a sweatshirt with like a hood that I had on my head, and so it kind of blocks things out. So there's that. But yeah, this morning was really cold. So every like couple of steps I'd be breathing in my hand to then get the hot air on my face. And so after the first mile, things did warm up, but be careful, don't slip on ass. Yes. On Saturday, I waited a little bit too long. I was just trying to relax. I was trying to wait. I was trying to read. I was trying to do just a slow wake up thing. Long story short, by the time I got out, it started sleeting, and then it was rather kind of snowing and then sleeting and then freezing rain, which were the exact conditions where I did dislocate a finger down some stairs. So I was very careful to not go down those stairs. I haven't, obviously, since in 5 years, probably. I think it's been when I dislocated my finger. I was just getting started with this podcast, and I feel like I was still pre-recording at the time. So I think it was basically COVID times. It might have been the February before we went into lockdown, I think. Anyways, time is relative. It's all figments of our imagination, I guess. And I'm not actually old. Sure. Whatever I have to tell myself when I go to sleep at night. So with all that out of the way, I guess we can chat it up after the next 20-minute sprint where I'm going to normalize some of the verbiage used with my story and then start doing edits on chapter 16. It's going to be a long one, so I'm probably not going to finish in this sprint or in the third sprint, so I'll just restart my work tomorrow night. But let me know how your productivity sprints go, Richard and Miss Blogger. I will see you all in 20 minutes. Good. Read, relax, do whatever. It's a Monday night. And apparently you didn't have a holiday over in the UK, because I wouldn't imagine that you would. So I'll see you all in 20 minutes, and good luck. All right. So I did no editing that round, but I did do the normalization across the 4 chapters where I changed it back and forth between it and they. Of course, because I'm me, that varied by person, so it's going to be really confusing to read, but essentially the first character who meets the robots starts off with thinking them as its, realizes they have intelligence, thinks of them as they. There's 2 characters who don't have the same insight, so they still think of them as it or collectively they. And then there's another character who is very device and machine heavy, so she always would think of robots and the like as they, them, because she recognized that they are sentient beings. So, oh boy, there's a lot of confusing things there. Hopefully, it won't get too lost in the readers, or if it does, I don't know. I tried something. We'll see if it works. I'm sure an editor will tell me I'm an idiot and that thought process is way too confusing to actually think of. So, I don't know. We will see how it goes. But on the bright side, I can check that off my task of things to not do later on the week. So that means all I need to do is start working on chapter 16. And yeah. How did your second Pro 2 sprint go? Richard, sounds like you were reading. Miss Blogger, I don't know what you were up to aside from working on your outline. So how is that progressing? Slide my chair a little bit over. There we go. Can hang out for maybe a minute and then we'll go right into the third sprint. I'll do my sign outs and then I will go eat dinner because I am hungry. Nice. Oh wow, a couple of chapters. That's a lot in 20 minutes. Let me just check this. Sorry. Okay, cool. Well, that's annoying. Okay. Sorry, I need to handle this. I'm trying to get a dog sitter. Cool. So might as well just confirm now. It's annoying. I can't confirm. Okay. Yeah, so I need to confirm a dog sitter for this weekend, but they haven't met the dog yet, so they're going to be coming on Thursday, although I need to confirm the booking by Wednesday because they changed their policies and they want to have things booked well in advance, which is really annoying. But oh well. So I'll probably just book in advance. If things don't work out, I can always cancel. Happens. Anyways, enough of my own life's intimate details. Let's get on with the third and final sprint. So I'll see you all in 20 minutes, and then we'll close out for the night. Going on mute. And welcome back, everyone. I am about halfway through with chapter 17. It's a long one, so yeah, took me a while. And chapter 16, sorry, chapter 16. So it's a long one, and I'm copying all my data, all of my stuff into the online version. So there we go, 3154, and okay, so I gained about 20 words in this iteration of the first half of chapter 16. I will continue working on it tomorrow, and then move on to 17, and then get in probably 18, 19 on Friday. So with that in mind, I'm going to be signing off. I will see you all on Saturday, and I wish you all a wonderful and happy Monday. I hope your Mondays were more productive than mine was, and I hope the rest of your week is going to be relaxing, enjoyable, staying warm, drinking cocoa. It is getting cold out there, so the weather is hopefully, well, we're a few months away from the weather breaking and returning back to spring and then the 2 hot months of summer. But for right now, I guess stay inside, stay warm, stay safe, read, write, be productive. I'll see you all on Saturday. Take care.